Welcome, Roomers and Zoomers, to Orange Coast Unitarian Universalist Church. My name is Jolene Ibanez, and I'm your worship associate today. I'm joined by Chris Law, who's filling in for Beth Syverson, who is on sabbatical as our Director of Music Ministries, and we're welcoming you here this morning. Karen Magoon Pearson, who is our Director of Religious Education, is holding classes for our children at Estancia Park. Our minister, Reverend Sean Wiltshire, is not in the pulpit today, but she has a special message for you.
Hello, Roomers and Zoomers. So I'm away this week, but my spirit is with you. For those of you who are new to the church, maybe you're just checking us out or curious about Unitarian Universalism, welcome. Glad you're here. You are in for a treat. This is a wonderful, friendly, fabulous, just all-around spectacular community. I hope you can get to know them, because it can be kind of tough to get to know a new community. But here's the thing, just hang in there, join in one of the activities, and before long, you'll get to know people, and then this becomes your church. Well, today we've planned a wonderful service for you, just blending music and word to bring together a helpful and hope-filled message. We hope it will feed your soul. So without further ado, let's go.
As you know, it takes a village, and this week that's the village. So thank you to all those lovely people that have made this happen today. Aww. In addition, this morning we are delighted to have Akbar Hussaini, a lifelong student of religion, philosophy, and science. Akbar's vocation as an engineer gives him the systematic thinking abilities. His polished entrepreneurial zeal with an MBA from Case Western University, he owns and operates a manufacturing business that makes industrial pumps in Irvine, California. That's very spiritual. He also resides in Irvine with his 3 daughters and only one wife. And not to forget the loudest member of the family, Zazu, a pet conure parrot. He's been serving as the executive director of Newport, Mesa, Irvine Interfaith Council since 2019, before which he served on the board of directors. Yay, that's cool. He also teaches classes at Islamic Center of Irvine, ICOI, for Fundamental Principles of Islam. On occasion, he's invited to mentor students or to speak at local colleges, such as CSU Fullerton and UCI. His passion is trying to find answers to life's most difficult and unanswered questions at the confluence of religion, philosophy, and science. We also respectfully acknowledge that our church property rests on Ahachiman and Tongva land. As Unitarian Universalists, we have many different beliefs, but we are one loving community. Together we covenant that whatever our beliefs, we accept one another and we encourage each other in spiritual growth. We affirm that all life has inherent value and that all existence is interconnected. We strive for justice and compassion in our deeds and relationships. We are committed to creating a welcoming community without regard to the traits that sometimes divide people. To our roomers, we invite you to silence your cell phones. And to our Zoomers, we invite you to say hello in the chat. I want to extend a special welcome to visitors. If you're seeking a spiritual home, we hope that you will find it here. Later in the service, we'll have an opportunity for you to introduce yourself if you'd like to. Now, let the worship begin with the lighting of our chalice as we say our unison affirmation. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its law, to dwell together in peace, to seek truth in love, and to help one another. This we affirm together.
Please rise in body and spirit and sing hymn 188, Come, Come, Wherever You Are.
Rise So we're going to start with a call to worship. And in Islamic tradition, it's called the adhan. And it's literally a call to worship. And if you've ever traveled to any of the Muslim countries, I'm sure you've heard what adhan is. And we're going to play an adhan. And we will start the service right after that. Usually in a mosque, what happens is the adhan plays, and then the people gather, and there is a sermon called khutbah, which the imam gives, and that follows the actual ritual prayer, which is probably 4 minutes or something like that, and then people go. So it's a little shorter program, and our congregation day is Friday every week, besides the two main congregations that Muslims have, which would be the two Eid celebrations. So Catherine, if you can please play the adhan.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله.
So that was the call to prayer. And now we will meditate on some verses, actually 3 verses from the Holy Quran. And Catherine, if we may go to the, okay, she already has done it. Fantastic, thank you. So the first verse is from chapter 25th, or 25th chapter, is the 10th verse. And it reads, "And know that God invites mankind unto the abode of peace, and guides those who seek guidance onto a straight way." So here, God wants us to make this earth an abode of peace. He wants to guide us through His Word, and He has sent His Word that Muslims believe in many other books before Quran. And the Holy Quran reaffirms what has already been sent to messengers before Prophet Muhammad. Then if we go to the next verse, Catherine. Here, God is addressing mankind directly, says, "O mankind, indeed we have created you from male and female, and made you peoples and tribes, that you may know one another. Indeed, the most noble of you in the sight of Allah is the most righteous to the others." Allah is all-knowing and all-aware. Here what God is reminding us, that He could have made the entire humanity as one nation or one people, but He created diversity so we can know about each other and learn from each other. And in addition to that, we have been invited to be very righteous, kind, and understanding in our interaction with the other people. And as we will see in the next verse, the third verse, what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or God, means by righteous is making sure that we treat people with justice, regardless of whether we love or hate or be indifferent to that group of people. So if you can play the next one. So this verse reads, "O you who have believed, be persistently standing firm for Allah, witnesses in justice, and do not let the hatred of a people prevent you from being just. Be just, that is nearer to righteousness, and fear Allah. Indeed, Allah is all aware of what you do." And the last thing here that I want to remind us all, the word Allah is not a Muslim God. It literally means in Arabic, Al-Ilah. It's a combination of these two words. And those of you who know some basic Arabic would understand that Al-Ilah means the God. That's it. So do not ever think that Allah is supposed to be a Muslim deity or a Muslim God. So with these three verses from the Quran, let's reflect on that for a few seconds here. Thank you for the beautiful meditation. And now I'm going to begin my talk. I'm going to start with Assalamu alaikum for everyone, which means that I'm greeting you with the Islamic greeting of peace. And first, I'd like to thank Reverend Sean and all of you here for giving me this opportunity. When Reverend Sean asked me to do this, I gratefully accepted. I have worked with a few others from this congregation and know how loving and genuinely caring you all are. And I cherish the possibility of being with you all one more time. Now, since most of you do not know me, I think it's best for me to start with telling you a little bit about myself. In case you have not noticed from all this, I am a Muslim, and I am from India. I was born and raised in the most beautiful city of Hyderabad, which was annexed into India after its independence. As I was growing, I could not help but notice that there were several indicators that we were not necessarily welcome in our own country. Even after my engineering studies, and while I was working, I experienced being a stranger in my own land. In my gut, I knew that this is not right. A human being should not be prejudged because of his race, religion, or color. I found out through my library visits that there was a place where you were given a level playground, regardless of where you came from. It was not easy, but I decided to and managed to come to America. And I want to add how fortunate those people are who were never asked whether they belong in that country. The burden of that question is indeed heavy. I started working in New York, and it was not long, and I must clarify, I was talking about my experience in India. Believe me, in this country, for the most part, I've been accepted, and this is a diverse country. So I started working in New York, and it was not long before I realized that New York may not be the ideal representation of what's best in America. Soon after, I was reading the road sign that said, "Welcome to Mansfield, Ohio." A small town of 40,000 people in the middle of pretty much nowhere. My wife and I moved there, and we fell in love. Fell in love with how inexpensive things were. And how nice the people were, too. The people also embraced us with a greater wonder in their eyes. "Did you ride elephants back home? Do you come from a family of snake charmers?" And we happily engaged in answering those questions and other questions, filled with genuine curiosity, while also working and living there for 6 years. The long, cold months meant mostly hiding indoors at home except for work. It's a small miracle that we did not produce 6 children in that time. Because there was not much else to do. Sorry. During my travel, I fell in love with another corner of America, Orange County, California, which is where I moved in 1998. It's been a long time. This felt like home, so we settled down and started our family. We have 3 beautiful daughters, and I also started my own company that manufactures industrial pumps, which Jolyn thinks is not spiritual. We pour our spirit into it, Jolyn. It still provides livelihood for my family along with few other families of those who work with us. Then there were events that unfolded, and I'm going to talk about, that got me to where I am today. But first, I want to ask you a question that may sound very odd. And please indulge me. Raise your hand if you know, oh no, sorry. Raise your hand if you think, it's an odd question, so I have to read it very carefully. Raise your hand if you think you're less than 100% human. I know, it's difficult. Let me ask you another one. Who can identify someone who is, say, only 3/4 human? Let's park this question for a second. And I'm going to talk about a study that was done in 2015 by Northwestern University. It was of our opinion of each other and other people. It was on a scale called Ascent of Man, AOM. We've all seen the popular, albeit simplistic, depiction where we show the progression of humans from apes to gorillas to Neanderthals and a fully erect walking human. So this AOM scale is where 0 is pure ape, 100 is pure human, whatever that means. Our fellow Americans rated themselves and their European brethren between 90 and 100%. Japanese a little lower, Chinese lower yet. Mexicans made it around 80%. Arabs slightly lower than that. The lowest ranking was reserved for Muslims, who came in around 77%. So the answer was standing right in front of you. This is apparently what a 3/4 human looks like. And this is what dehumanization looks like in its nascent form. For implications of dehumanization, we need to recall places like Auschwitz, Sabra and Shatila refugee camps, and Manzanar internment camp in our own state. We still do it. How about drug dealers and rapist Mexicans? The Muslim ban, Kung Flu. Every one of these terms precede violence. For example, the attacks on Asians increased several folds since 2020. Coincidence? I don't think so. As we saw above, there are some people who think Muslims are only 3/4 human. How did that happen? Recall the curious questions when we were in Mansfield, Ohio. Most Americans did not know much about Muslims. Their first introduction was post 9/11 by the media, which was anything but balanced. So when we take the blank slates, which were most American minds, about Muslims, and constantly bombard it with negative imagery and hostile narrative, what else do we expect? Have you seen the portrayal of Muslims in Hollywood movies? One may ask, why can't the Muslims in Muslim countries create a counter narrative to balance this? The answer is because they cannot. Muslims are utterly divided and busy fighting each other, if not just trying to survive. Many of these Muslim countries did not exist 100 years ago. Take, for example, Pakistan, Morocco, Algeria, Sudan. These were all colonized lands. Colonial powers drew artificial lines to divide people and create new countries at the stroke of a pen. We also believe that democracy brings stability. But many of the democratically elected governments were brought down, like Iran in 1953, Palestine in 2006, Egypt in 2013. All this results in instability and chaos, which stifles progress, especially in the early stages of nation building. Recall that the first 100 years of our own American history were tumultuous. There is plenty of blame to be shouldered by Muslims as well. There are many internal factors, including people among us who work as termites. And more importantly, the Muslim population is not a monolith. There are dozens of languages, cultures, and races in the Muslim world. We also do not have a formal head or a spokesperson like the Pope or a Dalai Lama. Nor do we control the media. The result of all is that the most obnoxious, obscene, and violent people make the news and get all the attention. The price of their words and actions is paid by common Muslims throughout the world who have nothing to do with it. I'm sure many of you know very well the names Osama bin Laden, Ayman Zawahiri. Imagine knowing Christians only by Hitler, Stalin, or Timothy McVeigh. Do we know about Abdul Sattar Edhi, a great humanitarian? Or Ahmad Hussain Zuwail, Nobel Prize winner and father of femtochemistry? We have more than our share of lunatics, but we also have brilliant scientists and humanitarians. Muslims represent 1.6 billion people on this planet, and we are like any other group with our good, bad, and the ugly. We are no different, and all we ask for is to be treated no different than any other group of human beings. Remember the wonder-eyed kid who grew up to a man in this country? I was going about happily with my new life, with this new land of opportunity. And there were plenty of opportunity that this country gave me. And then 9/11 happened. It was horrific and tragic event in our country's history. It was also a watershed moment for the entire Muslim population in the world. It was the equivalent of dropping several nuclear bombs on them. Hiroshima and Nagasaki, where two separate atomic bombs were dropped, killed about 120,000 people combined. Great loss of life. Between 2003 and 2011, there were 465,000 people killed in Iraq alone. Another 240,000 in Afghanistan. 9/11 changed a few things for me as well. A couple of days after 9/11, I was graced by a visit from a team of FBI agents who questioned me, saying that someone in my neighborhood reported that they thought I looked like one of the hijackers. I'm serious, they mistook this face for the face of a terrorist, and a dead terrorist at that. I was profiled while living in the most multiracial cities in California. Then started a string of random airport secondary and tertiary searches. There was often a team of agents on hand when I came back from a foreign trip to warmly welcome me by escorting me to a separate room and carefully going through my luggage. They were always interested in the minutest details of my travel, like who I saw, where I stayed, who I visited. Such nice and caring people. Even my wife was not interested in such details. The culmination of these friendly conversations was when I took my family on a cruise to Cabo San Lucas. When we got back, everyone was allowed to get off the ship except me, my wife, and my 3 daughters. We were escorted off from the cruise ship with no less than by 6 border security force officers with machine guns surrounding us. It was quite a visual walking that long bridge between the ship and the port of Long Beach. We were questioned for almost an hour, and our belongings were searched thoroughly. After they were satisfied that we did not manufacture a bomb while on the cruise ship, we were allowed to go. I requested to speak to their supervisor. I asked what danger a guy with his wife and 3 daughters could pose when he spent the entire time on a ship with everyone else. There were no answers forthcoming. The taxi ride home was very quiet, mainly because we were all dazed. I was hoping I would not have to answer to my 11-year-old daughter what happened and why it happened. Luckily, she never asked nor mentioned it. Until after a few years later, when we were talking about some current news, and I mentioned that our government consists of people, and people can make mistakes. She recalled, like they did with us, Dad, when we were getting off of the cruise ship. Shocked and holding back my tears, I replied, yes, darling. People make mistakes. After several months of my requests under FOIA, which says Freedom of Information Act, I eventually got my file, which listed every foreign trip I took ever since I arrived in this country. However, the most relevant passages in it were blacked out and redacted. So even with FOIA, I could not find the juicy details that made me a suspect. By then, I had to go on another overseas trip for business. I told my wife, if I'm not out after 6 hours of my flight landing, she should send for lawyers to go looking for me. Well, I returned, and something very different happened. No longer was I afforded the welcome that I was used to. I scanned my passport, expecting to be sent for secondary screening. Nope, I was just sent out. No one talked to me. Now, ever since when I come home from abroad, no one bothers to welcome me home with in-person interviews or detention. Now I feel neglected. Wonder what happened. Did my FOIA request cause them to look at my file another time, and they perhaps found out that it was not anywhere as interesting as they thought it was going to be? Who knows? I'm only glad I can travel like everyone else without having to update my lawyers with my itinerary. Thankfully, my personal experience is no more than a mild inconvenience, because I know some people were treated much worse, detained for years, and some died. At the root of all this is the process of dehumanization, which, according to the Psychology Today magazine, pushes people out of the domain of moral concern. Let me quote this again. Dehumanization pushes people out of the domain of moral concern. You're no longer concerned about them as a human being. And according to that research at Northwestern University, dehumanization is a mental loophole that lets us harm other people. Unfortunately, that is exactly what is unfolding in the country I come from, which is India, where Hindu extremists came to power and started an overt campaign to make India a Hindu-only country. They systematically persecuted the minorities, who number over 250 million, with mob lynching, violence, and vandalism. It started a few years ago with them using the words such as foreigners, occupiers, anti-nationals to marginalize the Christians, the Muslims, Sikhs, and other minorities. In 2020 riots, hundreds of Muslims were killed in the capital city, New Delhi. They've burned down the churches and mosques, jailed preachers and imams, and vandalized several places of worship. The rhetoric of hate peaked recently in December 2021 when a religious parliament for Hindus openly called for genocide. They announced a reward of 1 million rupees to anyone who blows themselves up in Muslim gatherings to kill maximum number of people. They clearly laid out a plan to kill 2 million Muslims to displace 200 million on the same pattern we saw with Rohingyas in Myanmar. I was at a seminar not long ago where someone asked a question that still haunts me today. He asked, have we in the history of humanity ever come together to prevent a genocide? Ask the Jews, the Bosnians, the Rwandans, and the Rohingyas. They will tell you that we come together only after the genocide has occurred. Are we going to act any different this time? I don't know. India is my birthplace, and with many of my family and friends still there, it is to me as personal as it gets. Hence, I've decided to do what I can to raise awareness and seek friends among the interfaith community. We will also put together an interfaith coalition to inform and influence our leaders in Washington so they can apply some pressure on the Indian government to be fair and do justice. Genocide Watch, based in USA, recently declared that genocide in India is imminent. If it happens, the scale and magnitude of this will make Holocaust pale in comparison. We're talking about 250 million people being targeted in a country with a population of 1.4 billion. I'd like to invite all of you to join us in the effort to stop this genocide. In conclusion, I want to state that according to experts, there is one early and easily detectable sign for dehumanization: the derogatory words we use or see being used to marginalize any group of people. Remember, language defines everything around us, and words have consequences. So whether or not you feel compelled to join the cause of minorities in India, I urge everyone to be vigilant and challenge bad choice of words at the earliest possible instance. Words are very important and determinant of our future course of action. This is why even God reminds us in Bible at the start of first chapter in John, and I quote, "In the beginning was the Word." Thank you all for your time and attention. I'll stay behind for those who have any questions or need more information. Thank you.
Please rise and sing hymn 180. I'm going to play this melody once and then we'll sing.
Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah.
I'd just like to thank him for the lovely sermon. Unitarian Universalist congregations are fully self-supporting, meaning that members and friends raise all the funds for the operating budget, ministries, and programs of the church. We are ever grateful for your gifts of time, treasure, and talent. OUC amplifies that spirit of generosity by sharing half of the plate we receive with an organization that shares our values. This month we are supporting Stand Up for Kids. They feed and house thousands of kids each year. They help them stay motivated to finish high school, go to college, get full-time jobs, and that they do at a rate of 90%. So please help them. There are multiple ways in which you can help them and us. You can mail a check. You can go through our website. You can use an app now called Vanco Mobile. Or if you're a roomer, you can place your offering in the basket as you leave service today. The choice is yours. All of the information is on our website should you need it. As always, thank you for your generosity.
पे
Now is the time when we honor the important events in our lives. You're invited, one and all, whether you're a member, a friend, or a visitor, or whether you're a roomer or a zoomer, to participate in our weekly ritual of joys and sorrows. To begin, I would like to invite Lori Kluge, our pastoral care team member, up here to assist us. Perhaps you come here today holding something close to your heart. Moments from the last days or hours that have struck you to your core. If you'd like to honor such a profound joy or sorrow, you're invited to do so. If you're a roomer, you're invited to come forward and light your candle. If you would like to share your joy or sorrow, you can write it out on the slip of paper. They're outside, and one of our ushers can bring one to you if you want to raise a hand. And I will read all the joys and sorrows that are shared out loud. As the music is played, I invite you to silently offer healing celebration as you feel. Oh, I'm sorry, I also forgot to mention that the Zoomers can go ahead and write their joy or sorrow in the chat, and I will read those out loud as well. So once those are all done, I will read them, and I'm lost. Okay, as the music is played, I invite you to silently offer healing or celebration as you feel called and according to your own beliefs. I would first like to read the Zoomers. Hi, Zoomers. I'm going to read yours now. We have Matthew P. Remember, we're going to do that, right? Matthew P. I'm highly anticipating my upcoming gender-affirming top surgery on March 15th. Woo! Okay, good for you. Leanna S. would like to say, my son Lucas is almost 1 year old. It's a joy. One beautiful, magical year with him. Hannah A. would like to say, I would like to light 2 candles to honor my dear friends who recently passed away, for Randy and Nora. Now, Matthew P. is also concerned. He's concerned about being able to have enough have enough and of good quality food during my healing time after surgery. If there's any kind of system for meals delivered by congregants, I don't know, but I'd love some help with that if that's possible. powers that be. Valerie K. would like to light a candle for her friend Annette, who's suffering today. Thank you. Barbara S. would like to say gratitude for this loving community. Ken A. Let's see. I'm going to call this, I'm not sure, Ken A., if you meant for this to be a joy or concern, but I'm going to read it anyway. Thanks for the service. I have cousins in Mansfield, Ohio, and elsewhere, and elsewhere around that nowhere that my father's family comes from. I have several Muslim friends and coworkers, work with a lot from and in India, and to have been distressed by the rise of Hindu nationalism and the Modi government. We have Ashley V saying, joy, spending time with my family, and sorrow, uncertainty about the COVID-19 pandemic. And Francie has a joy. She had a wonderful time with a 4-day visit with her daughter Sabrina and her 2 grands, Sierra and Justin, are here from Michigan. Been 3 years since we were together. Yay, Francie. Okay. So I think that's all my Zoomers. And here in the room, Rick and Julie F. Our oldest son, Nathan, was accepted into his #1 high school, Sage Hill. Yay, that's always great. Monique would like to say that her mother has faced many challenges this winter, and her cat Midas has cancer. And Sandy M. would like to say that she's concerned about Bob Courtemanche, my son-in-law's dad, whose cancer has returned. Sorry. And Elizabeth K. Please hold this in your thoughts. My colleague and good friend Joe D. His wife is from the Ukraine region and is personally and deeply affected by the current world events. Let us hold all the love and all the joys and all the celebrations and all the hurts and all the pain, both spoken and silent. Let our joys remind us to be thankful, and our concerns remind us to hope, and our sorrows remind us to connect. Let all these moments remind us that we are not alone. Let us join together as we extinguish the chalice and reposition the mic so the Zoomers, I'm sorry. We extinguish our chalice. Can we say this all together? We extinguish our chalice, but not the light, flame of the community or the fire of commitment. These we hold in our hearts until we are together again. Sorry, the concerns today got me a little discombobulated. I apologize. Thank you for joining us this morning. We are a congregation made up of people who all believe differently. And yet when we gather together, whether we are in the room or we're on Zoom, we make up one loving community. We need not think alike to love alike. Can we say that together? We need not think alike to love alike. There you go. If you're a guest, a visitor, or someone who hasn't been yet known to us, I invite you to become a part of this beloved community. We encourage you to either write in the chat or stand up for a brief moment and tell us your name and where you're from. Let me check the chat. And Steve will bring you a microphone if you want to rise and tell us who you are.
Hi, my name is Atiya Akbar. I live in Irvine, and I'm Akbar's wife. It's a pleasure to be here. You guys are doing an amazing job. Thank you.
Thank you. Welcome.
If you'd like to know more about our church, including programming for our youth and children, please contact us at hello@ocuc.org, and we will help you get connected. In addition, we invite you to sign up for our weekly email called The Blast, We want, it's at blast@ocuc.org. We want everyone to feel like they're a part of this beloved community, so please reach out and we will help you get connected. After the service, we will have a short period where everyone, roomers and Zoomers alike, can wave and say hello and welcome any visitors. The Zoomers who remain will be placed in a Zoom breakout room for about 20 minutes. We invite you to check in and get to know the people in your group. And now we have a special guest who would like to help us out with a few things today. I don't know if you guys know this person. Reverend Sean, everybody.
Hey, everybody. I tell you, oh, there you, thank you. Yes, we've got the, so, couple of things. I just wanted to say, like, I was sitting in the back and I was looking at everybody and I was like, wow, everybody's wearing yellow today, blue. Oh, right. Right, see, I don't have any yellow, so I got a t-shirt instead. It says, Stand with Ukraine. I'm just so delighted, everyone, that you're here, and you're here in support of Ukraine as well, and this amazing, wonderful man over here, Akbar Hussaini, who I've worked with for years, and didn't he do an amazing job? Yeah. I knew he'd be there. I've been trying to get him in here for a while, so this is really great. So a couple of things. You can see there's a whole bunch of wonderful things that are going on. Actually, today we've still got the AHA group and the DREAM group. They're welcome to join us. We're going to be doing the rally between 1 and 3. So that for those of you who don't know, hey, Zoomers, by the way, you can also come down and do this too. So we're going to have a rally today in support of Ukraine. If you weren't aware, one of our congregants, Tatiana Hauser, is half Ukrainian. Okay, and she approached me and says, is there anything that we can do? And I'm like, oh yes, because I don't know about you, has anybody else been feeling frustrated? Yeah, like, I want to just do something. And so she's going to be here with her kids, and Ari is making signs, and all sorts of wonderful things are going on. And so we're going to have lunch here first. So the Brandons, bless their hearts, came out and got us lunch and everything. So we're going to have lunch out here. There's pizza for the kids, and then there's sandwiches and all sorts of goodie, and even little Rocher chocolates. I'm like, wow, you guys know how to shop at Costco. So come out for that. The other main thing that we also have got is save the date for the newcomer orientation and meet the minister lunch. So this is kind of fun. If you have any questions for me, particularly if you're someone who's new or someone who would like to be a part of this community, come out for this. It's going to be immediately following the service next 2 Sundays from now, right? 2 Sundays from now. Thank you, Linda's nodding, right? 2 Sundays from now. And it should be a lot of fun. So there's going to be a lunch, but we need you to RSVP. And you can do that to hello@ocuuc.org. That's our sort of all welcoming, wonderful email, hello@ocuuc.org. So please sign up. If you're online and you want to be a part of this, we can do hybrid. So again, just RSVP, because we are going to have a lunch, and so we need to know how many people are going to be there. So I think, and you can see there's all sorts of other wonderful things that are going on throughout the whole week. Let's see, I think next week will be our last week with Chris. So we'll be saying goodbye to him then, but it's going to be wonderful if you want to come out for the choir and work with them. I've heard wonderful things about working with you, Chris, by the way. So at any rate, I think that's all of basically the announcements, but come on out. We've got food. We're just going to have a fun time out there on the corner making some noise. I've got a sign that says, honk if you support Ukraine. Anything I think that we can do to support, I think right now, and to show that Costa Mesa cares is really wonderful. Tatiana is beyond happy with us, so please come on out for that. All right, why don't we sing our... Oh, no.
No, sorry, no. Let's also not forget that there's a little bit of a change on that. There was the Monday night fiction book group is meeting at 7, not the 7:30. And the meditation group meets in Suite 7 at their regular 9:45 a.m. time. So there's just a couple changes I wanted you to know about. Also, next Sunday is Daylight Savings Time. So set your clocks ahead so you don't miss church. Spring ahead. Yeah? Okay. All right, and that is all of that. But there is something that we want to do. There was a journeying song, and Akbar does not want for us to miss out on that. So we're going to put that in right now, and he's going to lead us in something really special.
We all know how wonderful Steve is and how thorough he is. He's a great director. But when the performer is not up to par, despite his best efforts, there was a little piece that I missed. So that's on me. So this is a song that we can all join in with a chant. And I'm going to give a little start on that and kind of, sing a tune. I say that very reluctantly because I'm not a very good singer, but I'll try. So this is how it goes. Allahu, 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 Allah. Allahu, 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 Allah. Now let's see if you can join us. Allahu, 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 Allah. Allahu, 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 Allah. Catherine, can we play it? Thank you.
فمحمدنا هو سيدنا وعز لنا بعجابته سو محمد ہیں اپنے آقا اس نام سے اپنی عز و بقا اللہ 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 الصبح بدا من طلعته والليل دجى من وفراته ہے نور سحر چہرے سے تیرے اور شب کی رونق زلفوں سے اللہ 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 لا الہ الا اللہ.
Benediction, and what I'm going to do is give a dua, and dua is the word in Arabic for supplication. So please join me in making the supplication. Dear God, give us enough wisdom to understand the futility of fighting wars. Enrich us with the vocabulary of peace, justice, and equality, so we can communicate effectively without ever having to resort to war. You promised in the Holy Quran that after every hardship there is ease. Please provide ease very soon to our brothers and sisters in Ukraine. Please protect the victims and strengthen the oppressed in Ukraine and wherever there is oppression. You can change hearts, so please change the hearts of leadership and incline it towards ceasefire and a lasting peace. Give our leaders the wisdom and forbearance to set aside their egos and make decisions that benefit people rather than harming them. Dear God, we pray that we never again see families split apart, crying children taken away from the arms of crying fathers who stay behind to defend their homeland. O God Almighty, forgive us if we ignored in the past the plight of people who did not look like us in seemingly distant lands. Also forgive us if we discriminated between human beings after you reminded us to treat everyone with justice and equality. We promise that we will react just as strongly when families and children are oppressed, whether in Africa, Europe, or Asia. Dear God, grant us the power, knowledge, and resources to make this whole planet the abode of peace that you commanded us to do in the Holy Quran. Give us strength to overcome for good the primal sense that makes us see others as a threat or competition. Teach us to use only those words which bring peace and tranquility in the hearts of people. Amen.
Let us go out and all do our part. Let us go out, bring joy to each heart. Let us go out, with indifference destroy. Let us go out with joy. Let us go out and all do our part. Let us go out, bring joy to each heart. Let us go out, with indifference destroy. Let us go out with joy.
Service is over. Let our service continue.